In 1853, California imported a tree from Australia. They promised it would grow fast, produce hardwood for railroad ties, and turn the state green. It failed at all three. The wood split on rail spikes. It warped. It was useless. But the tree stayed. They planted millions more. For windbreaks, for ornament, for shade. That tree is eucalyptus. Its bark is papery and loose. It sheds flaming strips in a wildfire that carry fire 100 feet ahead of the flame front. Its leaves contain volatile oils that ignite explosively at radiant heat. It is among the most fire-dangerous trees ever measured. California planted the fire starter by the millions and ignored the fire stopper that grows in the same climate for 170 years. Subscribe and hit the bell. Every share helps preserve what they tried to erase. The archive opens in 1853. Captain Robert Waterman, a retired clipper ship captain, brings the first eucalyptus seeds to California from Australia. The promise is enormous. Fast-growing timber, railroad ties for the expanding transcontinental lines, hardwood for construction, fuel for industry. The gold rush has filled the state with people. The state has been emptied of trees. The eucalyptus is the answer. By the 1870s, nurseries across the state sell millions of eucalyptus seedlings. Railroads plant entire groves along their routes. The Santa Fe Railway runs a trial. The wood splits on the spikes. It warps as it seasons. It cracks along the grain. The fibers twist. One forest investor in Oakland plants over 8 million eucalyptus trees from Oakland to Berkeley, hoping to profit from the lumber boom. He never sells a single board. The timber is worthless. By 1913, the eucalyptus lumber experiment is completely dead. But the trees are not. They are growing at 6 to 10 feet per year. They are producing volatile oils that kill competing plants. They are shedding bark in long, papery ribbons that pile on the ground like kindling. They are dropping leaves loaded with compounds that have a flash point of 49 degrees Celsius. They are spreading, and nobody removes them. Nobody even considers removing them, because they are green, because they are tall, because they are beautiful from the highway. A pound of saffron cost a horse in 1393. A pound of ginger cost a sheep. And 1 million tons of living fire accelerant cost California nothing, because nobody understood what they had planted until it was too late. October 20th, 1991, Oakland Hills, California. A fire starts in the dry grass below the eucalyptus canopy. The temperature is 90 degrees. Humidity is below 15%. Diablo winds are blowing at 65 miles per hour. The fire reaches the eucalyptus grove. The bark peels off in flaming strips. The wind carries those strips 100 feet ahead of the fire. They land on roofs, on decks, in gutters packed with dried eucalyptus leaves. New fires ignite before the main fire arrives. The phenomenon is called spotting. Eucalyptus produces spotting at distances unmatched by any native California tree. In less than 4 hours, the Oakland Hills firestorm kills 25 people, injures 150, destroys 2,843 single-family homes and 437 apartment and condominium units. 1,520 acres burned. $1.5 billion in damage in 1991 dollars. The eucalyptus did not start the fire, but the eucalyptus made the fire unstoppable. January 7th, 2025. Los Angeles. The Palisades Fire and the Eaton Fire explode within hours of each other. Over 38,000 acres burn. More than 16,000 structures are destroyed. At least 28 people die. Total economic damage is estimated between $250 billion and $275 billion. The fires spread through a landscape choked with non-native vegetation, dried ornamental plants, and fire-prone species that were chosen for appearance and never evaluated for behavior in a wildfire. California spends over $690 million per year on wildfire resilience and forest health projects. It employs thousands of firefighters. It maintains fleets of aircraft. It clears thousands of acres of brush. And yet, the state has never mandated fire-resistant tree species for residential landscaping. It has never required the replacement of fire-prone trees with fire-resistant alternatives. It has never educated homeowners on the difference between a tree that burns like gasoline and a tree that catches embers and extinguishes them in its canopy. That tree exists. It is native. It is free to plant from acorns collected in any park. It has thick bark that insulates its living cambium from heat. It has leaves that retain moisture year-round. It has roots that store energy underground and resprout, even when the trunk is burned to a stump. It shades out invasive grasses that dry into fire fuel. Its dense canopy blocks wind, reducing fire spread. Its waxy, cup-shaped leaves catch embers from the air and extinguish them before they reach the ground. Its name is Coast Live Oak, Quercus agrifolia. The Theodore Payne Foundation for Wildflower and Native Plant Gardens in Los Angeles calls it a living shield. Their wildfire resilience guide states that the massive canopy of a coast live oak can act as a shield for your home, extinguishing embers that travel miles ahead of a fire. Formulae Landscaping, a Los Angeles firm specializing in fire-adapted design, writes that at full size, Just one oak may be enough to protect a house. The Santa Barbara Botanic Garden is currently researching shaded oak fuel breaks as an alternative to clear cutting, planting 216 oak saplings on a test slope to measure their effect on temperature, humidity, soil moisture, and wind speed compared to cleared land. UCANR, the University of California Agriculture and Natural Resources Program, published a review confirming that coast live oak is a fire-resistant tree with the potential for recovery after even a severe fire. The review documents that smaller diameter saplings usually recover quickly from even moderate intensity fire through basal sprouting. Large diameter trees with 18-inch trunks survive severe fires, especially when understory has been cleared beforehand. Post-fire, the root crown sends up vigorous sprouts within 2 months. Trees that lose part of their canopy typically regain full coverage within 8 to 10 years. The tree does not die in fire. It comes back from fire. Stronger, wider, more deeply rooted than before. This is not a theory. This is documented in peer-reviewed forestry science. Persco and Green, 1967, Plum, 1980, Ackerley, Cosenitas, Papper, Oldfather, and Clark, 2019. The coast live oak retains moisture year-round when other plants dry out and become fuel. It shades out invasive annuals that catch fire more readily. It reduces wind speeds beneath its canopy. And when fire does reach it, its bark, the thickest of all native California oaks, protects the cambium layer beneath. Its roots are insulated by a corky layer and by soil. The entire tree is an engineering system designed by 4 million years of California wildfire evolution to survive exactly the conditions that destroy eucalyptus-flanked neighborhoods. Now here's the comparison. Eucalyptus globulus, blue gum, the species planted most widely in California, bark that peels in long ribbons, leaves that contain volatile oils with a flash point of 49 degrees Celsius, litter that accumulates in deep drifts on the ground, canopy that carries fire into the crown, spotting distance measured at over 100 feet, no resprouting from roots in many fire conditions. Instead, a mass release of seeds after fire that colonizes the burned ground before natives can establish. The tree is not merely flammable. It is an accelerant. It speeds fire. It throws fire ahead of itself. It regenerates after fire faster than the things it killed. Coast live oak, Quercus agrifolia, thick insulating bark, moisture-retaining leaves, dense canopy that blocks wind and catches embers, shading that suppresses flammable understory, fog drip enhancement that moistens surrounding soil, epicormic and basal sprouting after fire, root energy storage that powers regrowth, a tree that has survived every wildfire in California for millions of years because it evolved inside them. One tree was imported from 12,000 miles away because it grew fast and looked green from a train window. The other was already here, already adapted, already fireproof, already free. A coast live oak sapling from a California native plant nursery costs between $15 and $40 depending on size. An acorn costs nothing. You pick it up off the ground in any park between Mendocino and Baja. You plant it in fall. You water it through its first 2 dry seasons. Then you leave it alone. It reaches maturity in 20 to 40 years. It lives 300 to 500 years. It requires no fertilizer, no irrigation once established, no pruning for fire safety, no chemical treatment. It provides habitat for over 300 species of insects, birds, and mammals. It sequesters carbon. It builds topsoil. And it does not burn. The eucalyptus requires nothing to grow either, but it also requires nothing to burn. One match, one ember, one lightning strike within 100 yards, and it throws fire across your roof before the fire truck leaves the station. Here is what California could do. Mandate fire-resistant species lists for all new residential landscaping within the wildland-urban interface. The lists already exist. The Fire Safe Council of San Diego County publishes a comprehensive California native plant list for fire-resistant landscaping. UCANR publishes Firewise species guides. Theodore Payne Foundation publishes Wildfire Resilience Planting Guides. The science is done. The lists are written. They have never been made mandatory. Require phased removal of eucalyptus within a defined radius of residential structures in high fire severity zones. Caltrans already removes eucalyptus from highway corridors. They removed 228 blue gum eucalyptus trees from a single Highway 101 project because the trees were a documented hazard. The precedent is set. It has never been applied to the residential zones where people actually live and die. Fund Coast, live oak fuel break installation along the wildland-urban interface statewide. Santa Barbara. Botanic Garden proves the concept works. The trees shade out flammable grasses, reduce wind, increase soil moisture, and catch embers. 216 saplings cost less than a single fire engine. A statewide program planting thousands of oaks along interface zones would cost a fraction of 1% of the annual wildfire damage bill. Educate homeowners. 1 page, 1 fact sheet. This tree burns. This tree does not. Plant this one. Remove that one. Your home insurance premium could reflect the choice. Your family's survival could depend on it. None of this has been done. Not after Oakland in 91, not after the Tubbs fire in 17, not after Paradise in 18, not after the Palisades and Eaton fires in 2025. 16,000 structures destroyed in a single week in Los Angeles, $250 billion in damage, and the state still does not require a single fire-resistant tree in a single new landscape plan. The eucalyptus lobby is not powerful. The timber dream died over a century ago. There is no industry protecting the eucalyptus the way the chemical industry protects synthetic nitrogen or the pest control industry protects quarterly spray contracts. What protects the eucalyptus is simpler than that. It is inertia. It is the assumption that what is already planted should remain planted. It is the refusal to look at a tall, green, beautiful tree and say out loud what every firefighter already knows. That tree will kill someone. The coast live oak does not lobby. It does not advertise. It does not grow 6 feet per year or produce dramatic canopy in 3 seasons. It grows slowly, deliberately, building bark an inch thick, storing energy in roots that run 30 feet underground, developing a canopy so dense that embers die inside it before they reach the ground. It is not photogenic on a real estate listing. It is not impressive from a car window in the first 5 years. It is impressive on the morning after a wildfire when it is the only tree still standing in a neighborhood of ash. In every fire zone in California, the choice is the same. A tree that throws fire or a tree that catches it. A tree that burns like a match or a tree that resprouted from its own root system 2 months after the last fire. A tree that costs $250 billion in damage or a tree that costs $40 in a nursery and protects a family for 300 years. The oak is still growing in every park, along every coastal hillside, dropping acorns every October that nobody picks up, waiting to be planted between a house and a hillside full of eucalyptus that everyone drives past and calls beautiful, until the wind blows, until the humidity drops, until the ember lands. If this story opened something for you, subscribe and hit the bell. Every like and every share preserves what they tried to erase. The next story opens soon.